Okay, so you have your test in front of you. You are looking under pressure at the document-based question. What's the first thing that you do? The first thing that you do is to read the question. And then when you're done reading the question, you read the question. And then when you're done reading that question the second time, you read the question again. This is the number one most important thing that you can do, and it is amazing how common mistakes are at this point that can really wreck what would otherwise be a perfectly great essay. So let's look at the 2018 version of the question here for the World History DBQ. Okay. Evaluate the extent to which railroads affected the process of empire building in Afro-Eurasia between 1860 and 1918. Okay, let's think about this for a second. This is a question that has given you a number of really important clues as to what exactly the type of answer it wants to get. One of the first things you can always do when you're looking at the question and you're thinking about, okay, what do they want me to tell them, is look at the time period. There will very frequently be a time period. And there's a really funny teacher online. I'll show you his YouTube video. And one of his laws is that when you are taking this exam under time, you are going to be dumber than you think. Dumber than you normally are. You're under pressure. You've been working all year. You've got limited time. You're looking at that clock with the seconds counted down. It is just a perfect scenario for you to make silly mistakes. So the first thing you should do is look at the time period. 1860 and 1918. That should tell you a number of things. First of all, 1860, you are slap in the middle of the height of the Industrial Revolution, right? This is the period where Europeans are crawling like ants all over the world, throwing up railroads everywhere, shooting native peoples, taking their stuff. It's kind of a rough deal if you're in India and China. But that starting date is really key. The next date should set off every alarm bell in your head that you've ever seen. 1918 is the end of World War I. That's going to be really, really key here. You just because they're picking that date, you can tell. So, oh wow, they want me to maybe think about what does this effect have on World War I. Okay, so 1860 to 1918. Now we've got our time period. Okay, then what's next? What's the major topic we're talking about here? Well, we're talking about empires. Not just empires, empire building. The process of building those empires. We're not talking about which empire's the biggest or which one's the most awesome. We're talking about what is the process like. How did they do it? And then you go back a bit more and you can see it's railroads. How did railroads affect the process? You remember what I tell you about the difference between effect and affect? If you fire a cannon at a wall, it's going to make an effect, as in a hole in the wall. But affect is a verb. Will the cannon have an effect? Will it affect the wall? Yes, it will. Did railroads affect the process of empire buildings? Did railroads change how empires were built? Yes, you could say. Great, one word, your essay's over. No. Read the question. Look at the beginning. Evaluate the extent to which. So not only are you saying how the process of empire building works, not only are you saying how railroads affect how that process of empire building works, you're saying how much effect did the railroads have? Did they greatly help the process? Did they greatly hinder the process? It's probably going to be both, depending on what you're talking about. Read that question carefully.